Okay, awesome.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. And hello, Zeeshan. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Um, we are very excited to hear what you have to say about creative visualization. An interesting topic, a topic that I like very much.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Great. So the stage is yours.
Okay. So I know some more people are joining in, but I just want to start with a simple question. Um, for those who are watching it right now, do you know what, or have you heard the term visualization, and what do you understand by that? If you can just type in the chat box, quick one sentence, if you know about visualization and what do you understand by it?
So what is visualization to them?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's always interesting to see because because English is a very interesting language.
It is.
And so sometimes the words have different meanings for different people.
Right. So what is visualization to you, guys?
What is visualization to you? For those who are joining just now, I just asked if you understand or if you know the term visualization. What does it mean to you? If you can just type in a chat box a few sentences, one line, whatever.
They're thinking about it.
The funny thing is when you're on WhatsApp or something, you can see somebody typing, so when you're on a call like this, you're just wondering, what's happening? Okay, awesome. So we have some
Robin wrote
response.
something. Yes.
Imagining something in detail. We are thinking, visualization, mental rehearsal, using the mind's eye to create something awesome. Robin, you're
Beautiful.
perfect.
Beautiful.
So that's what we are going to talk about today. And I mean, everybody has different understanding. That's fine. And that's why we are here on the call. Yeah, creating mental images. So before we jump into the topic, so the book that I am talking about, Creative Visualization, is by Shakti Guen. And this book had a huge impact on me. If you don't know my story, I had hyperthyroid, and I was diagnosed, and I was told that I'll have to go through surgery and I'll have to take medicines for the rest of my life. And I had this knowing within me that there is another approach, there is another way of getting out of the situation without going through the typical medical approach. And I was just guided, and God gave me a way, and I found, and one of the books that had a profound impact on me was this book, because it really helped me create that situation that I wanted to create, where I would be healthy, where I would be happier, without going through this challenging situation that was given to me, without going through the surgery and medicine. So that's why I chose to discuss this book today. Hey, Sina, thanks for joining us. So before we jump into the book, this is what I want you to think about. We have, every single day we have different situations in life. We have a spouse, we have a boss, we have our kids, and every day we are, at one time or the other, we are going into a situation where we are almost like trying to negotiate, whether we are negotiating with our kids to use less technology, whether we are negotiating with our spouse to give us more time or have more time with us, or whether it's with the boss, or whatever the situation may be. Now what happens is, because in the past we have had those interactions, and some of those interactions haven't gone the way we wanted them to, we create this expectation. So now what happens is that, and I want to take an example of an employee-employer relationship, for example. And let's say you have a boss and you go to the boss, and every time you ask for vacation, there's this really hard negotiation, and you are given this list of things that you have to finish, and how hard it is. Now, because if it has happened like 2 or 3 times, you will create an expectation that the next time when you want to get vacations, already in your mind you're playing a scene that you'll go and he's going to say this. And sometimes people even discuss this verbally, and they say, what's going to happen, I'm going to ask, and this is the result. And so when we do that, we almost are visualizing a result which is not in our favor. So I want to start there. So before even we go for the visualization, you need to know what are your expectations. Now, this could be a brand new situation, that's a different scenario, but generally a lot of times what we are wanting to have in our life, we have already tried and we haven't succeeded, and that's why we have an expectation of failure. So what is visualization? Is simply put, is imagining an outcome of something that we want. And because our brain has been like this, that we most of the time we are almost generating negative thoughts 90% of the time. When we want to do something, when we want an outcome, we almost expect it to be negative, and our brain says, you remember what happened last time you asked? This is what's going to happen this time as well. So you already visualize, without knowing it, unconsciously you visualize an outcome which you do not like. And what I want to invite you today is pick one situation in your life, and we will be working on that situation. um, so the name of the book is at the top, where Ali had typed it. Ali Reza has given the name Creative Visualization by Shakti Goen. Okay, so just think of a situation where you have had little or no success in the past, whether it's a goal or whether it's a relationship situation, family or employer employee, or maybe it's a client that you have dealt with, and it's a very hard, difficult client to deal with. And just think about it. Okay, so just put that image in your mind. Okay, this is a situation where I'm not getting the result that I want. Just put it on the side. Now you have something, now you have a goal that you want to achieve. Now, what is imagination? When we were kids, or when we used to read books, and I'm going with from the basic level just so that everybody can go together. So if you are already a powerful person who can imagine in great detail, awesome, just stay with me. So when we used to read books, and when we are even listening to audiobooks, our mind is creating those scenes on its own, and we are thinking. And that's why some of the books which are written really well, by famous fiction authors, they create this entire scene where all of your five senses are called into, so that you can almost feel like you are there right now. I remember when I used to write some of fiction books when I was younger, and I would spend like 2 or 3 hours, and I'm just writing, and I wouldn't even know how the time passed, because I would feel that I'm in the story and I'm enjoying it as it unfolds. So we all have that power of imagination, but we just don't realize that the same power of imagination that we have used when we are listening to books or reading books, we can use the same power of imagination to almost bend our reality and get the results as close as we want. So it might sound science fiction and all that. So let me tell you one thing. Scientific studies have been done for many years, and this is not something new, probably at least 40-50 years since scientific studies have been done. And what they have found is that our brain, our mind, cannot differentiate between reality and fiction. And what I mean by that is, when you're watching a movie and it has a really strong, powerful, emotional scene, you tend to cry. When the hero wins in something that he has been struggling or she has been struggling with, you celebrate with them. While it's a fiction movie, it's not reality, it's on the screen, you're seeing it, it's well presented. So your mind believes it to be true and brings all those emotions to you, which would come if it was real. You know that consciously, you know that it's a movie, but you're still going with that. So this is this is a clear proof that your mind can believe anything that you present it to, whether it's happening in real life, whether it's presented on the cinema screen or TV screen, or even when you just close your eyes and imagine it with intense detail. So they did, as I was saying, they did some studies, and they had these things on, the athletes were wired with different monitoring mechanisms, and the other group. So there were two groups. One was actually practicing running, track field practice, this and that, all kinds of physical activity, and the other group was just imagining it. They were doing it for the same amount of time, and they were monitoring the brain activity. And what they found is the brain activity was identical for both. Isn't that, I mean, it's mind blowing when you think about it. Like, so you really get to understand that brain is just a tool. It's not as smart as we think it is. And we can use that tool to our benefit instead of being its servant. So now that we understand And if you have any questions, feel free to post in the chat box. I just wanted to create an introduction before we go into the idea of how you do visualization and what benefits, because people might have things like it doesn't work. So I want to clarify, it has been scientifically proven that your brain doesn't understand the difference between reality and fiction. And you can use the powers of your brain to create the reality or the results that you want, because you have that power over consciousness. So coming back to imagination, and we, in the beginning I asked you, and if you're just joining, I just asked, think of a scene, think of a situation where you have had bad experience before, and now you expect the next time you will try it will not work. Just think of it. So now that you have that, the next thing is, what the question that comes is, if it is so easy to create results through imagination, when it comes to, when we are involved with other people, whether it's a boss or a spouse or your child, are you talking about controlling others? And definitely not. So we have to understand that we live in a world, in a consciousness where we are co-creators. And by co-creators means everybody is contributing to the creation of the results that we are experiencing. So if I am getting an experience, no, I'm not the only person who created it. Somebody else was involved in that as well. So then how do we affect it when other people are involved? And this is where the power of imagination comes. You cannot control other people, but you can influence them. You can influence them through energy, and it is only used for positive results. So you cannot, so when we talk about, hey, I want to show my wife down, I want to show my husband down, no, it's not going to work that way. It only works when it's a win-win situation, when you want to get the results which are beneficial to you and beneficial to the other person as well. So it's coming from the, because God is very loving, your universe is very loving and caring, it only works in that way. So when you're trying to change something using the method that I'm going to share in detail now, you can get results only when your end result is positive. You can think about getting results for yourself, but don't think about that other person shouldn't have it, because that's when the conflict comes in. Then you are going to make it even worse, not only for yourself but for everybody around you. So keep that in mind. So that's the foundation of, we can get results, we can influence behaviors of other people. We have had incidents in the past which has created expectations, and then sometimes we, almost 90% of the time, we bring those expectations in the now, and we repeat those results, and then we say, see, I told you. Well, that see, I told you is based on the expectation as well. So now I think most of the people who are watching, they know that everything is energy. And this is where it all comes into play. Why is it possible to use your imagination to get results? It's possible because everything is energy. So the laptop that I'm using right now, the camera that I'm using right now, it is also energy, but it's vibrating at a different frequency. This again, I bring in a lot of scientific, because if you go into quantum physics, it all has been proved. So everything is energy. My thoughts, on the other hand, are also energy, but they're vibrating at a very different frequency, and they're easy to mold. So there are some things which are like my phone, for example, is like a hard rock, right? So for me to change it, I'll have to exert more pressure, because it's dense energy. It's vibrating at a different frequency. And at the same time, my thoughts, I can decide right now, somebody says something to me, and I can decide, no, I don't want to take that negative influence on me, and I want to listen to some uplifting positive music and change my thoughts. It's easy to change. So everything is energy, but the thoughts are higher, lighter energy, so we can change it easily. And that's why we focus on using thoughts to change the reality, because the chain reaction starts from here, and then you start getting it in your experience that you're getting. Okay, so again, one more thing I want to talk about is, when an architect decides to build a building, what does he do first? He creates what is called a blueprint. When an artist wants to create a painting, first comes to his mind or her mind, they create probably a pencil sketch, and then they create it. So anything which is created in this world first starts in the thought. I think about it, and then I do something, like we were discussing yesterday. We take some actions. Most of the time is the inspired action which gives us the result. So everything starts in mind with a plan. So first of all, you have to have an intention or an idea. What is it that you want? So in the beginning relationship, if there's some type of relationship or interaction which hasn't been fruitful before, so that can be your goal, to use this creative visualization process. If that's not it, then think about something which is, don't think about $1 million, because when you're starting anything, you should always start with a smaller goal. So think about maybe, um, I don't know, a smaller thing, maybe finding a $50 check, and or something like that, which is smaller, which your mind believes, if for your mind has, it's easier for your mind to believe that it's true, because you might have received, some people are receiving checks these days from CRA, so maybe you will receive one, right? So I'm saying, just think of something that is easier to believe. It doesn't have to be money. It can be, hey, I haven't heard from this person in a long time. It would be nice to receive a phone call from that person. So that can be an easy goal. It's believable. It's not a mega goal, and you're just using it to practice. So anything that you can come up with, can be relationship, can be anything that you want to make happen in your life. And what are we doing in creative visualization? As I said, is we are using mind as a tool. We are going to almost, and I don't like to use the word trick, but we are using almost like tricking our brain to believe that this is true for me. We're presenting a situation which doesn't exist right now in my life, and I'm saying, this is true for me, and I'm going to use this process of creative visualization to make it happen in my life. Okay, so that's the foundation of imagination, that we can set some goals which are easier to believe. We talked about why, scientifically how it works, and most of the stuff that I'm talking about is in the book Creative Visualization. While it's a tiny book, every time I read, it takes such a long time to go through it, because there are such concepts in it. You have to wrap your head around it. And the other thing which we talked about last time, and if someone wasn't there last time, was, I'm just going to repeat it because it is important here as well, is we attract those things in our life which we are thinking about. So, and situations which match the same frequency. So if I am continuously thinking about, and let's go back to that employer employee situation, that my boss is really bad, he's always insulting me, and I'm always insulted, and all those thoughts, then because your thoughts are like that, you will attract more of those experiences in yourself. So if you have that thought pattern, the first thing is to take a deep breath and stop it. Become aware that I have this thought process, and it will not be, I will not be able to create what I want to create if I continuously have these thoughts. And yes, everybody has negative thoughts. It's almost impossible to shut off all of them, but whatever you can do, right? So start with whatever you can do. So because you're aware now that everything is energy, your thoughts create more of that, what you're thinking about most of the time. So that's a reality. Awesome. So, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, parking and these things are almost always works, and they work because they are believable. So, and just a quick on that, what happens is, when, so you have had it, and it's the same thing. You've had the experience in the past, the first time you tried it, and I'm just reading, there was a comment saying that I always find good parking whenever I want it. It always works. Is because, first of all, the first time you tried it, you had an expectation, you didn't have a past experience, and even if you had a past experience, you decided, no, I'm going to try it and see what happens. You had a belief. It's a really small thing, it's not a big deal, right? It's not $1 million. And so you almost visualize without sometimes realizing that you're going to park in that parking. And you always happens, you go there and some car is coming out, or there's just an empty spot right at the right place. So why does it work? Because you have a belief, you have experienced it, and it has always worked. And the same concept applies to every single thing. It's not only about parking. Just imagine how many thousands of circumstances have to manage themselves to make sure that you reach there, and that particular time, that particular second, that particular parking space is empty. Can you just imagine how profound it is? Or it's called butterfly effect, right? One thing affects the other thing, affects the other thing. But so for you, it might seem like a small parking, but just just take a step back and look at the universe, how it's operating. And I want to take this example. A lot of times people, don't understand how profound it is, because there's thousands of cars on the road. There are thousands of people who are going to a certain destination. Their timing has to match with all of those things have to line up for you to find that one parking. But it happens. And I find it really funny, or I shouldn't say funny, but fascinating how all those things line up. If anyone has watched this movie from Jim Carrey, where he was he became the god, and
Bruce
God gave,
Almighty.
yeah, Bruce Almighty. And there's a scene there where he wants to go, and there's a traffic jam, and he does like this, and all the cars go on the side, and that's such an amazing scene, because that's what it is when you're finding a parking. All the things are lining up for you so that you can get what you're looking for without harming or hurting anybody else. So it works, and it works every single time, as long as you're doing the things that you are doing, which seems to be working for you. That's awesome. Okay, so so we talked about thoughts, and we talked about controlling others. I'm just making sure that I'm covering all the things here. And the last thing which I touched upon, but here's a statement which I normally use, and this is something that I picked up from the book, and I just added a few things to it, is when you are setting a goal or an intention, always say, now manifest for me this or something better in the most satisfying and harmonious ways for the highest good of all concerned. So I'll repeat one more time. Now manifest for me this or something better in the most satisfying and harmonious ways for the highest good of all concerned. And I'll tell you why this statement is so powerful. Our mind has limited knowledge in the sense what life experience has been. So if I am in a situation, and let's say I'm struggling financially as an example, and I think if I had $1 million, that would be the best solution. And I just focus on that all the time. But I don't really know if that's the solution for my problems. Maybe I have the potential to make more than 1 million, but I'm focusing on that. Maybe there is something better which is waiting for me, but I'm focusing on that. So while we set goals and intentions and we decide this is what I think is going to be my best in my best interest, but at the same time, when we end our practice, and we are going to do a creative visualization practice, but I wanted you to have this statement up front. When you end your practice, always say this statement, because what it does, it allows you to receive more than what your mind thinks is good for you. It always works. And sometimes it brings things for you that you didn't even think will bring you joy. And it has been my experience, and many of my clients have had same experience. So always remember to use this statement when you're doing the creative visualization. Okay. The other requirement for creative visualization, and it is a requirement, is that you need to be in a state where you are completely relaxed. And why is that? So I don't want to go into a lot of details of mental states, but when you are relaxed, meaning that you are breathing at a relaxed pace, you're not anxious, you're almost like that state when you're about to sleep. That is a state of mind which is almost called like the creation place. When you can go in that place in your mind, when you're completely relaxed and you're able to visualize the outcome that you want, you're almost playing with the creation process, and you can literally create the things that you're looking to create. And of course, consistency makes a big difference, but be allowing yourself. So the best time to do this is when you first thing in the morning. This is the best thing to do when you get up in the morning. Don't check your phone. That's the worst habit ever. Or when you're about to go to sleep, just allow yourself, you can put something on your bedside. This is my creative visualization. This is the exercise that I want to do. Read it before going to sleep. After you get up, just read it and just put yourself in the state. Okay, I'm relaxed. Breathe in and out a couple of times. Completely relax yourself, and then visualize what you want to happen. Okay. Now, one more thing about creative visualization. I keep talking visualization, and a lot of people think visualization is only images. So, yeah. So when we are talking about image visualization, it doesn't necessarily, because we are all different. So if you are a person who find it difficult to imagine things, then you can even, maybe you are somebody who is more, auditory. So you probably pay more attention to things that you can hear. So, and you can know. So if you, and this is how to find, you go to a park or go to some place where you really enjoy yourself, pay attention which sense is the most strongest for you. Are you enjoying the visual more? Are you enjoying the sound of the water and the birds and all that more? Are you enjoying the smelling of the flowers and the greenery more? Which sense is stronger for you? And you can be probably have all the senses stronger, which is awesome. You can have a more in-depth visualization practice. But all I'm saying is, if you try to visualize something and you're not able to get a scene in your mind, then you can think what else is coming. Maybe I can think, I can hear it. Maybe I can smell it. Maybe I can taste it. Maybe there is something which you taste. So don't discount yourself. Don't take this activity away from you just because you feel that you don't have that which is needed to use this method. And the other thing is, and this is also important, is let's say you have written down a goal and you sit down and you're trying to visualize it, but nothing is coming and you feel like you're blocked. That happens, and if you try it like a couple of times, that happens when you have the fear. You have like some sort of fear that what if this happens. Like, some people are in their comfort zone and they're so stuck in their comfort zone, they don't realize it. They consciously, they say, hey, I want to get out of this life, it's so, and they keep on complaining. But the other side is so fearful for them that when they sit down to visualize about it, it almost feels like, oh my god, what if this comes true? So their mind almost blocks them from creating that visualization in the first place. So if you are feeling that kind of feeling that you're blocked, that means that you need to work on that fear. You can work with a practitioner, myself, Ali, or there are so many practitioners here on the call, or find somebody who can help you. Speak to them and say, I am trying to visualize this goal, I'm not able to visualize it, I've tried my best, I feel like I'm blocked, what am I blocking? And sometimes 15-20 minutes speaking to somebody doesn't cost you anything, but it might help you identify there has to be an unacknowledged fear of change which is blocking you. So beware, that is a possibility, although it comes very rarely, but it is possible that you might have something like that. Okay, so now let's go to there are 4 steps to doing this. And what I'm going to do is I will ask you to, if you have a pen and paper, write those down as I discuss these with you, and then we'll do a short visualization exercise. Hopefully we'll have enough time to do it. So first of all, we've already done the step 1. The step 1 is setting your goal. If you haven't already set your goal, set a goal. It can be, as I said, something which is believable, which probably hasn't happened in the past, but you would like it to happen. And it won't be something huge. We're just talking about something smaller. And write that down for yourself, something which is believable. And then the step 2 is where I say create the scene. This is where you become the script writer of the movie. You almost write the details. So for example, if I'm talking about um, owning a car, I will write down what is the color of the car, how does it feel when I'm sitting in the car, how does it feel when I'm driving it. And I would have done some research on it up front. I would have probably gone to the showroom or looked at it online. How do people look when they are sitting in the car, how do they, and if you can go for a test drive, that's even better. So the more experience you can bring in, and then you sit down and write the script. This is how I feel, this is what I see, this is what I hear, this is what I smell. So it's a new car, you get smell of the leather, new leather, if it's a leather car, or smell of a new car, and if you're driving, and I'm giving example of a car, but you can think of anything. And imagine driving on the highway, how the wind will be flowing through your hair, all of those things, just create the entire script. This is my goal. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to write down a script of what you would like to create. Use all of your 5 senses. Think about all the 5 senses and put yourself in that scene. Okay. Now, I think most of you guys have written. So just now that you have written it, and we're not doing a visualization exercise right now, but just close your eyes and see if you can picture it. You're not creating a scene, just see if you can picture that whole thing. And give it positive energy. Think about it in positive ways. Think how awesome it would feel. Okay, cool. So just wanted you to have a short experience of it, and let's do the big one now. Okay, so we have the goal, we have everything ready for creative visualization. Now I'm going to share the process that I follow with you, and then so everybody, just let's start with a long deep breath in. Take a long deep breath in, hold it for 3 seconds, and then breathe out. One more time, take a long deep breath in and breathe out. And one last time, take a long deep breath in and breathe out. And now just imagine that your body is going in a relaxed state, and just follow my voice for it. And this relaxation, the energy of relaxation is going from your head to your eyes, all the nerves, all the muscles of your face, your lips, your jaw is relaxing now. Going down to your shoulder, your spinal cord, complete relaxation going down your body, your hands, your fingers, your stomach, your chest area, going down to your legs and knees and your feet. And you feel you're extremely grounded and centered right now. You have a strong foundation, you have a strong base, you're completely relaxed now. And now I want you to think about that scene that you just wrote about. And think of it as if it's running on a screen right now in front of you. And see what's happening in the scene. Where are all the actors? Where are you? What are you doing? Right now, just watch it as if you are watching it on a screen. Let it run for a few moments. And now imagine that you're stepping into the scene. That scene that you want to happen is happening right this moment, right now. Pay attention to who is around you. Where are you? Pay attention to your breathing, how you're breathing. How is the temperature? What are you feeling? What are those amazing, awesome emotions of joy and happiness and bliss and excitement that you're feeling right now? And what can you smell? What are those amazing, beautiful smells around you? How is the temperature? What are the sounds that you can hear? Is there music? Is there somebody talking? Whose voice is sounding so beautiful to you right now? And pay attention to your body. Are you sitting? Are you standing? Are you walking? Immerse yourself and all of your senses into the scene and feel the sense of joy that comes with it. Just pay attention to the possibility that this has happened now. You have it. And see how it makes you feel lighter, freer. You feel like you are able to do anything in this moment. You're completely capable. And you're just loving the situation right now. And when you are enjoying it, as you continue to enjoy, say it to the highest power that you believe in, God, universe, Allah, whoever it is, whatever name you call. Say that now manifest for me this or something better in the most satisfying and harmonious ways for the highest good of all concerned. Thank you. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to come back to the current reality where you are in. Start paying attention to the room where you're sitting, the sounds of this room, the chair that you're sitting in. And slowly, as you feel best, you can open your eyes. So, would you guys like to share some experience? How was it? How was the?
Amazing.
Thank you, Cyrus. Yeah, awesome, right? And that's two good points. So I'll first go to Sina. He said what a temperature it was, so, and Sina, you're a mind guy anyways, this, but this exercise actually proves to us that we can literally change our body temperature with the power of our mind. I was having this discussion with another coach yesterday, and it's so possible, it's doable, and only when we allow it to happen. And Ozma, so you touched upon something which I'm going to cover anyway. So sometimes what happens is that we set a goal, we go into this meditation. By the way, I'm feeling really chill right now, so probably I'm catching up on your energies. So what happens is that we set a goal, set an intention, and we do it for some time, and then after a while it starts to feel boring, and that's when you know that you have outgrown this goal and there is something bigger that you want to achieve. So as an example, and I love this example because it happened with me. I used to visualize about ODTT, right? And I am a big fan of ODTT for I don't know how many years. And then I would visualize about it, this and that. And then one day I am sitting with my cousin's son and he's looking at some cars and he showed me Audi R8, which is a higher version of ODTT. And something clicked in my head and it said, why don't you upgrade your dream? You're looking at Audi TT, look at Audi R8. And I said, what? It's like 3 times more expensive, right? So, but it was something, as you get guidance. So I said, okay. And that's when I decided that I can upgrade my dream. I have been dreaming about something which is not appealing to me anymore. I want something bigger. I have outgrown myself. And so, that's why, Ozma, I wanted to mention, when you feel like you don't want to open your eyes, that's the perfect place to be. But the day you feel like this is getting boring, it's time that now you move on to a bigger goal because you've already reached at the next level. Now it could happen that you were visualizing about a goal, you achieve it, then you should definitely celebrate it. You should always remember, this is a very bad habit that we all of us have. I have it, that we make a list of 5 7 things. Those things happen, we don't even know that we have reached our goals. We are so quick in jumping to the next one and the next one, and then the life becomes like, it's like a chase game. You're always chasing. So instead of that, it's a good reminder, when you make a list of goals, always revisiting them. And when you see something, so Shakti mentions, I think in this book, that she had written a list of 12 or 15 things, and then forgot about those goals and left them in a drawer. And after many years, she was cleaning the drawer and she found that paper, and 90% of those things that she had written all had come true. And she said, I didn't even realize it. Right? So that's because what happens is, when you celebrate your successes, you're making this muscle stronger. You say, wow, I visualized about it, it came true, so my belief goes up. So I say, wow, this stuff works, so I can think about bigger goals now. um, right? So Alish, Gail is asking about the name of the book. So yeah, so when you have success with this process, which I just shared, and just there are last few points that I want to share with you guys. Make sure that you celebrate your successes, whether it's finding the parking, whether whatever it is, smallest of the things, or as you grow, and then you will know. And so now I want you to come back to that situation where I was saying, you have had a situation where whenever you reach your approach your boss or your spouse or your friend, whoever it is, it never works out. I want you to think of that situation now and say, I want a different outcome. And as I mentioned earlier, your energies influence other people's behavior 100% of the time. Now, some people are blocked, they are negative, you can't really change them. But then what will happen is, some situation will happen that you will get out of their environment, you will be in a completely different environment. Not saying that it will happen all the time, but I've seen it happen enough number of times with people around me and myself that it happens. So two things happen when you are surrounded by people who are negative and they have not been dealing well with you. Either you can influence their behavior and change them, because some people have the potential to change. Some people unfortunately are not open enough to change, so then they will just somehow get out of your life. How it happens, you will not play any role in it, you will just work on yourself. That's about it. And the best part about this whole technique is, this is why I like it, you're not having fighting argument or anything, you're just working on yourself, making yourself positive, and your positivity actually starts to annoy people and they walk out of your life. Okay, now so I touched upon this thing a little while ago when we started, is that it can be used only for good, right? And so somebody is saying, Gail, you have read this book many years ago, I would highly recommend go back and read that book again, because as we are growing, we are learning new things. The books have different meanings to us now than before, so we are a different person. Okay, awesome. So sometimes people come to me, and this was a question that a client brought up yesterday also. They say, hey, I want something, this is what I want, but as far as I know, this thing doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in this world. How do you think it will come through? And so I had a client, this was 3 years ago. This is one of the interesting stories. She came to me, she said she has been working in this company for 12 years, and there are 3 bosses, and they are holding the 3 top positions. She has no chance of promotion. And I said, what do you want? She said, I want a better paying job where I am appreciated for these things, whether it's here or somewhere else. I said, okay, you know what? We will just work on the intention, what we want, and how it shows up is not our headache. So we worked on removing whatever blocks she had. And then she calls me one day and she said, those 3 guys, their company expanded so much that they created a new position. They promoted her to that new position with a new pay package, new responsibilities and all that. I said, see, and you said it doesn't exist, right? So when we set an intention, our mind can only see what it can see. It has this much limited knowledge and says, what are you talking about? This thing doesn't exist. Well, I am the master and I'll make it happen, right? So that's what she did. She was working on herself with me and whatever. She was very positive as well. Like, I have to give her credit. And this thing came up for her, and it always happens. So yes, Sina, I will repeat. Just give me 1 minute. So Yeah, so when you're setting your goals, don't let your mind tell you, but this thing doesn't exist, or it's not possible for you, or you are, you don't deserve it, or these things don't happen to people like you, or nobody in your family has done it. All of those are limiting beliefs, and they are nothing but bullshit, basically. You can do, be, or have whatever you want. When you're setting your goals, imagine that there's a blank slate in front of you. You are the artist of your life, and you're creating a painting and design it exactly as you want. Forget about what your mind is telling you, and then follow this process with the action steps. Of course, when an opportunity shows up, take the actions, go that route, do those things, even if it doesn't seem like this is going to end take you there. But if you feel like in your gut that this is the action I have to take that action and keep going in that direction. And I can promise you these things will work, because it's not theory, it's not something that I've read in a book, it's something that I've practiced, not only with myself, with my clients, with my family members. So it definitely works. Okay, so 4 steps. The 4 steps are: first is setting your goal, which we did in the beginning of the exercise. The second is create a clear idea or picture, where I was saying use your 5 senses, almost like creating a script for a movie. Third is remind yourself often. So how do you do it? Now, some people have vision board, which is a good idea. So you can, like I was giving an example of a car, and I have that car on my desktop. So whenever I'm working on my computer, every time I see it, so my mind is continuously reminded of that. So you can have a picture of that. And vision boards, by the way, do work as long as you do this entire process. And the fourth is give it positive energy. So during the day, when you look at that picture and you feel, if your mind says, I don't know why you're looking at it, it's never going to happen, that's not the energy that you want to give it. You want to give it positive energy, love. You say, yeah, I know this is going to show up, it's in the process of showing up for me. It's I don't know when, I'm so excited, maybe it will show up tomorrow, like last time we were talking about it. We never know when it's going to show up. So it's all about giving it positive energy every time you see it. So 4 steps are setting your goal, create a clear idea or picture, remind yourself often with a picture in front of you. Picture always works, it's more powerful. And giving it positive energy. Now, sometimes it's not only about looking at it, like you might not be sitting in front of computer all the time, but let's say you're going out with your family and you see a car on the road which reminds you of the car that you want. Again, give it positive energy. So it's focusing, continuously focusing on that idea. This is what I want. It's a relationship, maybe, let's see, and you want to be in a healthy relationship. You see happy couple, reminds you of your situation. Instead of saying, oh, I'm so miserable, say, no, this is the kind of relationship I want. And put yourself, give positive energy to it. So it applies to anything. You're a sick person, let's say you're dealing with a health challenge, you see healthy people, you give positive energy to, this is me healthy, I'm going to be, but I'm in the process of being healthy. Okay. uh, the last thing is affirmations. So I'm a big believer of affirmations myself. And the only I've heard a lot of people say affirmations don't work. The only reason it doesn't work is because you don't do the entire process. You do just bits and pieces, then you expect things to happen. It doesn't work that way. So there are some affirmations that I do on a regular basis which are related to the goals that I have, but there are some journal affirmations as well. So what affirmations do is that they create a stronger belief that it is going to happen for you, because you repeat it every day. And sometimes what happens is our mind says what you're saying is not true, and that's where some people give up on it. And you don't have to, because you know what happens when you visualize about it often enough, your mind starts to believe it to be true. Because as I said in the beginning, your mind doesn't know the difference between reality and fiction. So you're giving a situation to your mind every morning or every night, then you're affirming it, and you're remembering it during the day continuously. It has to come to your life. You are using your mind to bring those situations and circumstances that will make it to be true. Oftentimes you will have to take action. Sometimes it just shows up without you doing anything. But I always encourage people to take action, because that's the best way to get it faster. Okay, so there are some affirmations that I will how are we doing on time? We have a few minutes, right, Ali?
We have 9 more minutes.
Okay, so quickly, the last 3 things for any goal, and it's like a filter that you should run your goals through it. The first is, do I truly want it? So sometimes we say, I want $1 million, but check inside. Do you really want $1 million, or you want $1 million because you want something else? You want a house, and you think, if I have the $1 million, I can have the house. So if the true desire to have the house, don't worry about the $1 million, right? So check yourself within yourself. Do I really want this desire? Is this true desire, or is it something like a bridge that I want something else, but I want this kind of thing? So go to the end goal. Don't worry about the means. Means will show up for yourself. So is this true desire? Do I really want it? Secondly, do I believe that it's possible for me? And that's why I said, when we were talking about, when you're starting off, start with smaller goals, because that will allow you to build stronger belief that this process works. So for those who are finding parking, maybe think about bigger now, because your belief is already strong enough that this works. For those who are not able to find even a parking, start with the parking. So believe, do I believe that it's possible? And as I said, when you do visualization, your belief will get stronger as well. And you must be willing to accept and have that which you are seeking. And this is where I was saying, sometimes people get blocked during visualization, because while they say they want it, they are not ready and willing to accept it in their life. Somebody who is single for 20 years wants a life partner, but at the same time, there's a story going behind in his head, but how will I support that person? Or I will lose my bachelor lifestyle. So there is this conflict there, right? So you have to overcome that conflict. So you have to desire it truly. You have to believe that it's going to be possible for you, and that you have to accept it once it shows up in your life. So you must be willing to accept it. And again, if you have any of these things not meeting, then go down a level, go down a notch. And if somebody who's looking to be married, maybe think about having a first date. Start slow and then build that up. And they all combine together. Your desire, belief, and acceptance is what your intention is. When you set an intention, it has these three things in it. And quickly, I'm going to do some affirmations, and I'm going to share. So the way I do affirmations is slightly different. I learned it from a lady by the name of Coral Grant. She's the founder of Subconscious Release Technique, and I'm partners with her. And so we call it positive fill-ups. It's the same thing. We just call it differently. So the way we do it is this: we take a long deep breath in, we hold the breath, and while we are holding the breath, we say the positive statement, and then we breathe out. But you're not saying it out loud. You're saying the positive statement in your mind. So one more time, we take a long deep breath in, we hold our breath, we say the positive statement in our mind, and then we breathe out. And the reason why it's done this way is when you're holding your breath, you're literally accessing your subconscious mind. So the more times you do it, you're literally rewriting your program that is running your subconscious mind. So it's a really powerful technique, and I've seen some tremendous results with it. So you guys don't have to do anything, just follow my voice and I'll guide you. Okay, so let's start. Take a long deep breath in. I trust myself. And breathe out. Take a long deep breath in. I'm open to receiving. Breathe in. I'm open to letting go of the past. I love myself. I love and accept myself exactly the way I am. I'm surrounded by loving and caring people. I'm supported on my journey. I am receiving divine guidance on my journey. I am protected. I'm full of joy and happiness. I'm open to receiving divine guidance. I trust myself. I appreciate myself. I'm accepted exactly the way I am. Doors and opportunities are opening up for me. Things always work out for me. I am at peace. I have clear and consistent memory. I now let go of the past. I am at peace. Okay. How's everyone doing?
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay, that's it for me.
All right. Thank you very much. It was great. I think there was so much of learning for us and good feeling as well. And yeah, everyone
One
enjoyed it.
question. This affirmation we did and the root of the imagination you took us earlier.
Mhm.
Do you have any recommendation to do either one of them in the morning or before sleep? Because you did talk about that too. Do you have any recommendation?
Me, I do it in the morning. So that way, I start my day with my vision of what I want to create, and I not only do about that, but also sometimes if there is something bigger that I'm like, for example, this presentation I'm doing today. So sometimes I visualize even that, how it will go and all that. So that is where you, rather than going with the flow, you go with the intention. You set an intention around what I want to happen today, and that's one way. So I would say, yeah, morning is a better thing because you're starting your day with a clear vision of what you want to create in the day.
Okay, thank you.
Most welcome. And thank you everyone who everyone is commenting in the chat box. Thank you so much. Which
Nargis is also asking a question here.
yeah,
Rather
which
than writing
sentence
those sentences.
the sentence that has most effect is you would know best, because these are the sentences that I'm using. They're very general in nature. Sometimes I've been given sentences by coaches and I've changed them. So check inside of you, say it in different versions and say what feels good to you the most, and that is the right sentence for you. So some people say I am enough, but I am enough is not good for me. So I had to add something like I am enough and I'm always doing more. That was good enough for me. So you always change it and feel inside of you what feels better. Most welcome, Robin.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
any other questions?
Perfect. If people can also search in Google, they can find lots of positive affirmations. Not all of them may resonate with you, but you can choose, you can customize, you can change, but make sure there is no negativity. There is no don't, there is no I don't want, no more. Forget about this and make sure everything is what you want to achieve, what you want to have more of in your life. Customize it for yourself, and then it will be great. You're good to go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. So it's 1 o'clock. It's 1 minute past 1. We reached the 1 hour mark here, but there is a question. If it's a quick question, probably she can ask. What do you think? Would that be okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. As the last question, I guess if you want to go ahead, please ask your question.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, sorry. Actually, I put my question, but I think it wasn't clear. I mentioned we can repeat this question verbally, or also we can write it. And my question was, which one is better, to write those sentences or repeat it verbally?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sorry,
So,
thank you.
yeah, so when you're thinking what to say, you write it. But then saying it with this breathing method that I just shared with you is much more effective. I'm a big fan of writing, not typing, simply because you are using thousands of neurons in your brain when you're writing, but you are only activating a few when you're typing. So always write them down, and then just breathing in it and saying it in your mind is the most powerful way of activating it for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. It was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. So I just wanted to say, if you, any one of you is interested in knowing more about and other things that I have been working on, I have a website called You Turn Your Life, and you can visit there. There's a free book that you can download. Then I share some more resources once you sign up. If you have any questions, you can again go to that website, and as soon as you get an email from me, you can reply back and say, hey, Zeeshan, this is my question. So I'll be more than happy.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you very much, Zeeshan, and thank you everybody for another awesome day. There was learning and also emotional enhancement. I like this kind of sessions.
I'm feeling so relaxed right now.
Exactly. So we can go full power for the rest of the day and be more productive than ever before.
Yep.
Awesome. So we will see you next week, and you'll be talking about, is it the science of getting rich or
I think it is.
Okay.
I'll double check.
The science of getting rich. And the other topic will be Think and Grow Rich, a very classical but awesome, super powerful book.
Yeah, thanks to you, I'm revisiting my books.
It is so good. And we are also enjoying because we learned a lot. Yes. Okay, thank you, everybody. Tomorrow we will see Sina. He's also in this call, and he's shaking his hand and shaking the book as well. So tomorrow will be our 10th session. We will have 20 sessions. We are going to have 20 whole sessions, and tomorrow we will be reaching the middle of the road. So I hope people are enjoying it. Please do come back and join us again every day so that we learn together. And we
share with
lives.
With your friends, share with people that you know who might benefit from it as well. Share it on Facebook and all that. The more people can benefit from it, the better it is.
Absolutely. Awesome. And thank you so much. And that is the end of our 9th session. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Goodbye.